way off topic. And she's like 90 years old now, and she's still wearing her wedding gown from that day.
Right. He's like, the world doesn't have shit planned for you.
He doesn't talk like that. I spend a lot of time in grief, boy.
Holding a candle he lit from.
Good morning, my name is John. Welcome to Jarad to Jarad. On this week's episode, the Jarads will discuss Viktor Frankl, Existentialism, Gein, Beowulf, Logotherapy, and much, much more. Action.
So Viktor Frankl's whole thing was existential therapy, right? That's kind of the umbrella term. He was doing something more specific that he talks about in his book, Man's Search for Meaning, called logotherapy.
Okay.
Logo meaning meaning,
right?
And then using meaning in the therapeutic process.
Okay.
So whereas someone like Freud talked about the will to power and things like that, Viktor Frankl came along a little bit later, and he was deeply inspired by Freud, but he came along later and said, we have a will towards meaning. And he first formulated that when he was a prisoner in a concentration camp in Auschwitz during World War II. And as he looked around and looked at who was surviving in those conditions and who was dying or committing suicide to escape it, he found that the people who had a sense of daily meaning were the ones who were surviving those conditions, right? So whether that was, one day I'm going to get out of here and find my mother, find my sister, find my brother.
Right.
If it was, it could have been as simple as I want to get back to my dog.
Right.
But as long as there was a meaning,
right.
Once that meaning was gone, they lost the will to live. So he talked about the will towards meaning.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. This is super interesting because it surpasses and is like one of those weird, like, fourth dimensional forces that actually plays out in human existence. So think about, like, cancer survivors, people that have like chronic disease, but they won't die until they finish writing their memoir or something like that. And then literally like a year later they die.
Yeah.
Or like a few months after it gets published or right before it's
absolutely.
But as soon as they're done writing, they lose the will to live. Yeah.
There's several examples of that kind of thing.
Right.
Or people who hold on until they get to see their spouse or their kids or whoever one last time, right?
Totally.
Yeah. So that is there. There is this innate drive toward meaning, toward completion in a way, and resolution and resolve and generation of life. And I first came across Frankl. I was 19 years old and I was seeing a therapist for the first time. This guy, Dr. Daniel Hutt, who was pretty good.
Nice.
And he suggested I read that book because I was just a really morose, depressed teenager, and also liked to read a lot, very thoughtful. He goes, have you ever heard of existential therapy? So we'd actually kind of talk shop, and he talked about the existential aspect, meaning that there is no inherent meaning in the world, that we actually have space to create meaning for ourselves. And that's one of the kind of humanistic values of existential therapy. It's not life is meaningless, it's we create our meaning in the void, so to speak. Because Frankl was reading guys like Jean-Paul Sartre and Camus and people like that.
Right.
And you can read those guys and get really depressed. And say, life is meaningless. It's just the void.
Right.
Camus had the myth of Sisyphus, and he's talking about pushing the boulder up the hill over and over and over again. And is there any meaning behind that? And then in that essay, he gets to the end and says Sisyphus laughs.
Right.
Because he sees through the absurdity of it and conquers the meaninglessness with finding his own form of meaning in a way.
Right.
So that was Frankl in the concentration camp.
Sure.
Yeah.
So how then does this translate as a therapy? Do you get your patients to essentially locate meaning going back to the inner map?
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
If then inner meaning would then be sort of geographical locations on our inner map, right? Where's our meaning? And if you don't have your meaning, finding it through therapy can then help give you the drive you're looking for. In a way.
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, how is it used therapeutically? And so actually in Frankl's book, I remember reading it when I was 19, and he had this story in it that I always held with me ever since, where he talks about this older man who recently lost his life and is grieving. So this older man comes into Frankl's office and says, I've been grieving for 2 years now, and it still feels like she just died yesterday. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to deal with this. I need you to help me. And Frankl sits down with him and says, okay, well, how do you think your wife would feel if you were the one who passed and she was the one who was still alive? And he said, well, she would feel devastated. We had a beautiful marriage and we're deeply close, and she would be suffering as much as I am, if not worse. And then Frankl says, well, you're bearing the weight of the suffering, so she doesn't have to.
Okay.
And then something clicked in the guy, and he actually shakes Frankl's hand and never goes back to his office because he got what he needed.
Right.
One session.
Right.
He goes, okay, now I have my meaning. And he still had to experience the grief. There's no way to escape that. But he had the meaning to move him through it, to find purpose in it, and even a kind of honor and nobility in his own experience.
Right. Because he was the carrier of the emotion.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I will say one thing that I kind of press against with existential therapy is it's a little bit too cerebral. It's a little bit too philosophical, right? Because as a future therapist, I can have someone come in my office and we can just sit there and talk for hours and hours and hours, but it's still just a head game. We're still just, there's a way of trying to convince yourself, oh, life is meaningful, or that terrible thing happened, so I'm going to create a new story around it where it gains meaning, but my heart is still aching. It's still broken, right? So for me, I'm getting really interested in these somatic practices, these embodied practices where you're actually quite literally releasing trauma from the body, having cathartic experiences, and releasing the tension that's being held in your body. So I'm curious about how to bridge these things, bridge existential therapy, logotherapy, and more embodied practices where you're actually doing something about the grief and the trauma, not just changing up your story about it.
Right. Two things. So one, I think there is power in perception. So when you're changing your sort of mental existential existence, talking through it, I think there is power in how am I perceiving my life? Because a lot of times we're creating all of the anxiety that's going on around us in our own heads. We may be thinking, oh man, that freaking jerk at work is talking crap about me, or someone laughing at what I said in class, blah, blah, blah. They're not, they're like worried about, their Hinge account or something like that. But you're creating in your head this crazy anxiety, or I'm going to get fired or kicked out, whatever. When really that's not going to happen. That's not the case. And if you literally just change the perception, no one loves me, whatever, talk it through with the therapist, boom. Well, actually, Jeff loves me, Jill loves me, Dion, I have this, I have that. You could make some serious changes where you're regressing your sort of depression. Thing number two, I think to put it more in a tangible sense, to bridge the gap, you get into a therapy session where you are doing the existential work. And if you find out that you need something to add meaning to your life, sweet, we identify it. Then we go through some really awesome options like move somewhere, start traveling, or meet someone, or start finding friends, or whatever. That. And then you go out and you actually do it. So you're putting work to the sort of conversation, Have actionable responses to that meaning. So it isn't just this armchair philosophy thing, right? Exactly.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah. Even the moving example is interesting, right? If someone's like, I don't know, my parent who lives far away is sick, and it's one of my deeply entrenched value systems that I need to be there for them and support them.
Right.
Then yeah, maybe a move would facilitate that person's experience of meaning in their life.
Sure.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, absolutely. Taking action.
Yeah. Even like oftentimes moving isn't the answer per se, but oftentimes it is the answer. Like when you were in Albuquerque, moving to Santa Fe, going to Mitra's, now in the college and everything, life has changed. You can even see it in your eyes and your expressions and your happiness every day, because it literally changed the world around. But it wasn't really until like me and you started getting into the woods of like, hey, maybe Santa Fe could be a good idea. Maybe get the heck out of Albuquerque. Moving home isn't the right way. We had that existential. And then you put action to it and actually moved up to Taos. Yeah, totally. Yeah. Freaking,
Yeah, I did that whole thing. Then came here.
Kind of healed yourself there.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. 100%. Yeah. So much later. And there was meaning behind it. Right. And I think it's that alignment between one's value system and then enacting that value system. And perhaps that's what meaning actually is enacted values.
Oh,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then if you think, let's go, what's his name?
Viktor Frankl.
Viktor Frankl. His work at the concentration camp, that's an embodiment of putting tangible value systems on this, because it was literally a survival technique.
Exactly.
Just like having a bow and arrow in that situation. You needed to have this sort of existential will to live in order to survive the jungle that you were put in, which is, the concentration camp. Yeah. And of course, obviously lots of prisoners of war back then died regardless of you wanted will or not, It was just like fucked situation. But and what I really admire too about his story is like it doesn't get much worse than that, right? I mean, just it like lived experience. It just can't get much worse than being in a concentration camp. Right. So it's really putting this theory to the test. It's really putting these practices to the test. Right. Because if you go to, I don't know, just like Beverly Hills or something, and just all these like super wealthy, privileged people, insanely comfortable, and talk about this kind of stuff, you want to have meaning in your life. Like, yeah, that matters. Everyone deserves to be happy and find meaning. But if you go into a concentration camp where people are emaciated and seeing their loved ones die every single day, and those people are talking about meaning. Frankl in that situation is talking about meaning. There's just so much more weight and strength to it than anyone else talking about it. It's incredibly inspiring. I wonder what he would say for those people that lose a will to live, that sort of lose that, symbol, that logo in their life. Yeah. How do you reboot from there? How do you find something else, new meaning? Say a child dies, or your wife divorces you, moves away to the Bahamas or something like that. How do you then pull back the pieces together to find a new will? Yeah. Well,
that is the therapeutic process. Right. Going through and excavating and discovering, and someone has to want it. Right. Someone has to want to find that meaning in their lives, because sometimes people just give up, and that's okay if that's what they need to do. I'm not going to judge them for that. Right. But I want to share this Frankl quote because it seems relevant, where he says, existential therapists believe that uncomfortable... Oh, shit. Wait, this isn't his quote, but whatever is in the chapter about him. Either way, it's a good quote. Existential therapists believe that uncomfortable feelings or neurotic symptoms are important messages regarding the maneuvering one engages in to avoid the ultimate questions of living. So neurotic symptoms are important messages.
Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I really like about this idea too, is that someone comes into the office and they're depressed, they've going through a divorce, whatever, and there's anxiety, there's fear, there's depression, there's anger, all of that stuff. to not push those emotions away, but treat them like messengers.
Right.
So what are you actually trying to tell me?
Yes.
And I think that's where we find our meaning.
Okay.
Is we go through the tunnel of those emotions, we follow them through to their root. And then that's where that meaning is. Why am I so anxious? Why am I so depressed?
Right.
Why am I so grieving?
Right.
And then, oh, okay. And then something starts to open.
And then neuroticism's funny because it could be completely like unnoticeable by the carrier of the neuroticism. Like, for instance, when I've like gone through some breakups, Dion would often tell me just like, oh no, I'd be like, I'm fine, man. I'm over it. It's completely fine. And he's like, nah, man, you're so neurotic right now. Like, like, I'm completely fine. Yeah, I went out last night, 3 nights in a row. Just like,
yeah.
You're so
just like you're not okay.
You're not okay. You're not okay. Right. And that's like a good indication of like, okay, shit, I'm not okay.
Right.
Like, yeah, I think we had one of those moments at like Rose Park. I was like, you're pretty neurotic, bro. I don't know. You're like, what? Fuck?
I'm fine, man. What are you talking about?
Later that night.
Yeah, dude, seriously.
Yeah.
Call you crying, just like, oh man, I'm not okay.
I'm not okay, man. I'm not okay. Yeah, you were right. But it's an indication of like, hey, I need to make a change, or I need to like grieve, or I need to, reflect closer on something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. All right, I got a Frankl quote here. This one's good. Everything can be taken from a man, but one thing. The last of the human freedoms, to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way. So that's that existentialist freedom, to choose one's own way, regardless of the circumstances, even if it's a concentration camp.
Nice.
So it's this immense amount of freedom.
Right.
Yeah.
Which goes into that like perception thing too. If you have power over your perception, there's really not much that can like get you down per se. I mean, there's obvious things, but if you're like, you know what, fuck it, I'm not going to be afraid right now, or I'm going to laugh at these freaking Nazi bastards or whatever the case, just
whatever
like,
it is.
Yeah. I'm going to stay present and grounded.
Yeah.
So what? I lost my job. I'm going to make more money, get a different job, instead of like, oh, I lost my job.
Yeah.
And that power perception, that can't be taken from you, because even your boss could be like, I fired that ass, so he's probably at home bugging. Can't even stock freaking shelves at Whole Foods, But the reality is you're all happy, like hanging out with your friends, freaking, found another cool job, whatever the case.
Yeah, whatever the case is, we have that freedom, and we have that ability to respond rather than react to any situation, whatever it is. It's another Holocaust story of this guy Jacques Lucéron. He was this French guy, and he was blind, and I think he was in his late teens, and he was part of this French resistance, as the Nazis were invading, and they were putting out this resistance publication and passing it around and everything. And he gets found out with all these other guys and shipped off to a concentration camp. And so not only is he in a concentration camp, he's also blind. They're just terrible. And people would steal the little food that was given out. They'd steal it from him because they could and they needed it. And finally, he gets to a point where he's dying, and they take him and just throw him outside on this concrete slab. They just left him there to die.
Right.
And he's lying there in the rain, actively dying. He's freezing, naked, and then he has this, as he later reported, because he survived, he has this intense spiritual awakening experience, right, where just something completely opens, and he's no longer fearful of death. It's kind of like a near-death experience story. He's very close to death and no longer fears it, and finds a level of peace within that very, very, very extreme situation.
Right.
Doesn't die. Someone eventually comes outside and he's still alive, so they bring him back in. slowly recovers, but at that point just has this peace and light about him in a concentration camp in a hell realm.
Right.
And then he ends up serving the function essentially of a therapist for all of these other prisoners. Other prisoners would be freaking out because of course they would be. And they'd say, well, bring him to Jacques. And they'd go and just sit with him. And he just had this okayness about him, and maybe talk with them for a little bit, maybe just hang out with them until they start to calm down. And then survived and wrote his story after the war ended.
Right.
Was liberated.
I like that too, because his meaning to live was himself too, you know, his life itself.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be an external. It was a spiritual moment for him. The inner self was what gave him the will to sort of change that inner map and then help others. He's like he's like a shaman now within the camp, you know, or somebody like a tracker or whatever that you hire for your own inner map, you know, help you find these places of peace. Yeah,
exactly. It's the incredible stories that come out of these situations. What's your meaning?
Right. Mine?
Yeah. What's up? Why are you? And we did this thing in class.
I have a simple one.
Yeah.
Dolly. You know, that's the cool thing when you're a parent. It's so easy to be like, oh well. Yeah. Have to you know. Right. My kids have to outlive me, and I have to be there till they're good and ready and old and happy and married or whatever the case. You know? Yeah. So there's always that for good parents, obviously, the drive to like, okay, well, as soon as you see your kid's face, your brain literally rewires itself. They've done like set up like dads with scans and EKGs, and as soon as they see the face of their child, all those synapses and waves, some turn off and others light up that never lit up before, and you turn into a different person. And I think that's some sort of like ego death of sorts, where you don't have to live for yourself anymore. Right. You're like, boom, now living for another. Yeah. That's like part of you, you know? So it's like goes from a single source of power into like a multiple light, you know? That's sort of going back and forth now. So,
there's an expansion there.
Right.
Expansion pack.
Expansion pack. Yeah. And other things, you know, if you want to get into it, friends, family, you know, and the self, obviously. Yeah. To be able to, you know, be successful, write some books, novels, finish Dreams of Jirga, you know, you name it. Go get some wings with the guys.
Well, it's cool that you started with the social. Right. You didn't start with the self.
Right.
Which, you know, no good or bad. If someone starts with the self, that's fine too.
Sure.
I might even start with the self, but to start with child, family, friends, people. Yeah. There's a warmth to that.
Totally. And then it all kind of like turns into, it unifies too. 'Cause being with friends is for me. Right. Being there for the daughters for me, you know, right? Being able to have memories with the parents who are aging is for me, you know, right? Blah blah blah. Yeah. Too.
Yeah. So it goes both ways. It's not. It. Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think how to say this. It's not. Selfish and selfless are actually very close to one another, because it's still for you, like you're saying, right? But also not. It's for you and right. Right. It's as opposed to just for you, period.
Totally. Right. Which gives it even more of a will. Yeah. Because like, you know, back to our old guy, Jesus, there's more giving than there's more joy in giving than receiving too. Yeah. So giving also, you receive more joy. It's like you're helping, but you're also receiving, and you're helping, and you're, you know, it's this cool little swing of pendulum, right? Like, you know, will to live,
right? Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I've been thinking and feeling into this lately. What is God? Right. And it seems to me that exchange between people is God itself, that God is sort of the space in between people, the shared space in between. So think of one of my teachers shared this. It was like a little kid's book. It's really cute, and it starts off with this mother who's always holding and taking care of her baby son, and then goes through the kid's whole life, and it's just about his unfolding relationship with the mother. And then at the very end, she's aging and sickly, and then he's actually, it's cute, he's literally holding her at that point. So it comes back around. It comes full circle.
Yeah.
And then she eventually passes, and then this guy eventually becomes a father and is now holding his actual baby, his daughter. But it just comes back around. It's that holding of one another.
Right.
That goes both ways. It's not, like you're saying, it's not completely selfless, but it's also not selfish either. It's this shared exchange, the shared holding of one another.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that. Since we're like 20 minutes in, I'm going to go a little off topic. I want to hear your opinion and how this fits into this mold. It's actually not off topic at all.
No, go for it. That was good too. I feel like 10 minutes will be like perfect with that. Yeah, we got into a good flow.
There's great little flow outs there. Mm-hmm. We'll find one. Ed Gein.
Oh, fuck. Way off topic, bro.
Ed Gein. So he...
Christ.
So one interesting connection with the concentration camps is his girlfriend.
Gein had a girlfriend?
Yeah. Was pretty nuts herself.
Yeah.
And people question whether or not she was involved with the murders too, or pushing him to it. But before he was the murderer at Gein, she got a bunch of photos because she is a journalist, and she got a bunch of photos from her friend who was a soldier in Germany, World War II, he American soldier. Mm-hmm. And the soldier took pictures of the concentration camps, all the bodies, that were piled up and shit like that. And she gave Ed Gein all these
a gift.
Pictures. Yeah. And he was couldn't believe it. And cognitively, he couldn't make sense of it. So he had to normalize it by doing it. This is what some psychologists argue. He just couldn't contemplate how it was even possible. Just so many dead bodies.
Yeah,
and,
I can
what they were doing.
Yeah.
But for him, it was too much. He had to normalize it somehow, by actually engaging in it.
Jesus. Yeah.
And then she gave him a bunch of comic books of this Nazi propaganda comic book that was Blondie the Butcher or whatever. Oh my God. And is this really hot blonde Nazi who would torture Jews and cut off their skin and make lamps and shit that, And he was obsessed with this. Yeah. This fake character. In fact, later on when he was in an institution, he asked for a walkie-talkie, a CB radio.
Yeah.
And they gave it to him, and he would talk to her every night. But what he later came to find out is the doctors never plugged it in. It was never plugged in. He was just talking to himself and would do the voice of the character.
Jeez, bro.
And
Hannibal Lecter over here.
Crazy. Yeah. But this behavior ends up triggering when he loses his mother, which was his only will to live. Yeah. And everything revolved around his mother.
Yeah.
And she used to tell him all the time, no one would love you. Only a mother could love you, Eddie. Only a mother could love you.
Yeah.
That's what she tell him every day, pissed at him, whatever.
Yeah.
And she was an abusive, crazy Christian. And so she dies. So now he starts talking to her. And there's this crazy displacement of his whole entire life. His only will to live was the mother. That was his all encompassing mental space was his mother.
Yeah.
And the small town. Right. So when she died, instead of grieving therapy or whatever,
Yeah.
he starts like seeing her and talking to her in his house. Guy that later diagnosed with schizophrenia.
Yeah.
You know, but is that like an egregious sort of example of losing your will to live and then trying to get it back? Because his whole goal was to bring his mother back to life. So he would go and get like, she asked him, I need bones like back. So he went and got some bones from the gravesite. And then he needed skin. So she needed skin. So he like,
so he thought he was creating like a Frankenstein body for his mother.
Yeah. And he was telling everybody after she died, he was still telling people in the town, oh, mom's doing better. And like, she's in the attic. And he introduced his girlfriend to his mom's corpse.
Yeah. Yeah.
Up in the attic.
Yeah. This is literally in Psycho. Alfred Hitchcock.
Right. So I don't know. Just a crazy little side story, but also like an extreme version of losing your will to live and then trying to manifest that will back to life despite all odds.
Yeah.
Is there a version of that? I don't know if there's really a question, but is there like a version of that we do in our own lives even? Perhaps we lose a breakup with our wives or something, and we're just like spend years and years. Like one of my friends is still sad about his, baby mama who they dated once back in 2013. 11 years, 13 years later. Still trying to put that back to life.
Yeah. See, well, that's where I push against the existentialist thing.
Okay.
And the search for meaning, because the book is called Man's Search for Meaning. You could spend a long ass time searching.
Right.
You could get stuck on the search.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I made that point earlier for but whatever. But you could get really stuck on the search.
Right.
When working at Whole Foods, when the janitor shaman over there who told me to leave my ex, or not told me, but suggested based on his own experiences with a similar type of situation. I later asked him, I go, man, like I'm feeling fucking grief and it's terrible, right? And he's got these wild eyes, and he looks at me with his wild eyes, and it's just like, he's like, well, people could spend a lot of time in grief. Some people spend, he doesn't talk like that. They spend a lot of time in grief, boy.
Holding a candle he lit.
Oh man, I'm fucking botching this story. But anyway, he goes, people could spend a lot of time in grief. They could spend years in grief. You could get really, really, really stuck there.
Right.
And he just goes, don't get stuck there.
Yeah.
Don't get stuck there, boy.
Don't get stuck. He who gets stuck never comes back.
But that's there. That's real, right? So take, use the example of your friend or whoever who 11 years of just like still hung up on this thing from 2013.
Right.
And so you could get stuck there. You could get really stuck there, and you could even find meaning there, right? And that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, oh, well, you could really honor it.
Right.
Oh, but it was so meaningful back then, and I'm still honoring it somehow. And you could fuck yourself and take to create.
I'll never let
bullshit.
it go.
I'll never let it go. And you could turn it into this very meaningful, very potent talisman that you never let go of.
Right.
Did you ever read Great Expectations?
I think so. Who is that?
Dickens.
Dickens, yeah.
I looked around my room the other day. This is the first time in my life I ever made a Dickens reference, because I don't like Dickens. But
it's funny. I took a Dickens class at UNM, so random. But yeah.
Anyway, Miss Havisham. Do you remember that character?
Roughly. She's been like 10 years.
Fucking crazy old bird who lives in her mansion, right?
Right.
And
Miss Havisham,
Miss Havisham, and she's a jilted lover. She was left at the altar
Oh, right.
Right. She was left at the altar, and she's like 90 years old now, and she's still wearing her wedding gown from that day.
Right.
The clocks are stopped at the time that she was supposed to get married. There's all these like wedding gifts with like cobwebs on them and shit like that. She's totally nuts. Miss Havisham.
Right.
That's someone who got completely stuck and is finding meaning, quote unquote, in that being stuck, right? So I looked around my room because I still got some shit from my ex, and I was like, I'm like fucking Miss Havisham over here. I gotta get rid of this.
Totally. That's Chocolat, right? When she's like, you think you're gonna get her a gift? She likes these chocolates, and he's like, no, she's still grieving her husband from the war.
Right. Yeah,
and she's like, that was 13 years ago. He's like, not that war.
World War One. What, dude?
It's like, you gotta move on. You gotta get past it. On. You know, you really do. Yeah. And then the like cliche in the movies is like, what would the person who's passed wanted you to do? Would they have wanted you to just stay here and be sad or whatever, you know, for the rest of your life, or no, move on? Yeah. Even like it went with relationships, whatever the case may be, you know, you got to move on. Yet even with my ex, however, you know, some I like more than others, whatever. I don't wish bad on any of them, you know, freaking move on with your life.
Yeah, you got to move on, dude.
Have fun, you know, whatever. Don't want to hold on.
When we created the J to J grief cycle. That was part of it, right? Liberation.
I think it was.
Yeah,
yes,
liberation.
Yes.
So that's my meaning, partly, is freedom.
Right.
The meaning of freedom. So it's not the search for meaning, it's the search for freedom, which is deeply meaningful already. Right. Because I don't want to be, you know, freaking however much time, oh man, still hung up on that.
Right.
Pissed off. No. You move on.
Right.
And that's the meaning.
Yeah.
You know, you move on.
Right.
And the embodied practices too. Because with that example, Miss Havisham, whatever, your friend, like
Ed Gein.
You know, just how do you move the grief through?
Right.
Because that's what I'm trying to say. It's like we could sit here and talk for hours and hours and hours about grief and searching for the meaning behind grief. And then 11, 12, 13 years pass and you go, oh shit, I'm still hung up.
Right.
So you got to move it through your body, whether that's like a good cry. If you go out in the woods and literally move your body and shake it out, or you dance it out, or do there's a bunch of different things, all these different therapeutic practices, EMDR, where it stimulates different parts of your brain in order to enhance communication between the prefrontal cortex and amygdala. The amygdala is what holds on and latches on to traumatic memories. And you can actually increase communication between those parts of your brain in a way that lessens the load, so to speak, allows your brain to digest these memories.
Right. Sort of like the mental plunger.
Yeah.
Get out all the whatever's clogging up your freaking, you know, emotional response system.
Yeah.
Be able to activate it again.
Right.
I'd like to know more about his findings too.
Frankl's or Gein?
Frankl. Yeah. Like Gein too. But Frankl, if he did interviews with people that survived, you know, what were their stories? What was the one commonality that he found most, you know, most common between everybody? Was it their will for a family member? Was it this or that? Yeah. Or what was their mental landscape like getting them through such a terrible situation, you know? Yeah. Because
it could be small things too. It doesn't have to be as big as.
Sure.
You know, it could be super small. It could be you made friends with a fucking cricket on a windowsill, and it's like, oh, it's my little guy. I don't want to leave him. You know,
every day he comes, old Jiminy. Yeah, you know,
whatever it is. Yeah, or even resentment and anger, that because you could find meaning in that if it's like fuck those Nazi fucks. Like, kill me, fuck you.
I'm gonna come back and haunt every one of you.
Yeah, just anger and resentment of these bastards, you know? I mean, you could or even just this resentful freaking, you want to just outlast that one guard who hit you that day. You know, you just want to outlast that bastard, you know, and it's like, that could be someone's meaning.
You can't kill me, you motherfucker.
Yeah, you want to let go of that at some point too, but if that gets you through,
I'll never scream, I'll never cry, you know. Yeah. I like that too, because the will to live could be classic freaking revenge, spite story, you know.
Do you ever see Cool Hand Luke?
With Paul Newman. Yeah.
It's classic.
So good.
There's that scene, he's in the prison, and then the big prison guy, also a prisoner, kicks the shit out of him, right? And they're in the prison yard, and he's just beating up Cool Hand Luke. And freaking Luke just keeps getting up.
Right.
Over and over and over and over. And he will not stay down. And he lost.
I got one for you.
He just keeps getting up over and over.
Back to another old episode, Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Can your will to continue on be based in the fact that you have nothing left?
Nothing left to lose.
Right. Nothing left to lose, nothing left to live for.
Sure.
You're an alcoholic who's seen the massacre of, you know, Native American tribes and shit like that.
Yeah.
And now you're selling Winchesters, depressed, freaking, you know, suck it. But he keeps getting up in the rain.
Yeah.
He keeps getting smacked with that bamboo sword, beaten down, but he'll just keep getting up. Keeps getting up, you know, but it's not because, he has a kid back at home. It's not because he wants a career. It's not because of anything. He doesn't give a shit that he was
just this
kidnapped by these people.
Gnarly will. It's just this like...
Kill me. Fuck it.
Man, dude, it's so intense. It's so
it's crazy
hard.
that the will to live could also be based in having no will at all left.
Yeah.
It's just fuck it, you know, which is a perspective too. Again, power and perspective.
Yeah.
When you're just like, you know, fuck it, Abednego, put me in the flames, you know.
Yeah.
I'm ready to roll.
You know what? I said will to power earlier for Freud. I think will to power was actually Nietzsche, and then will to pleasure was Freud.
Of course, that pervert.
Damn it. Oh, well.
Return the mics back on.
Dude, fix it, whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's there too, and that's my own will to meaning is something akin to that, not as intense as, you know, Tom Cruise living in Japan, living in medieval Japan or whatever.
Well, he was willed to death, essentially, you know.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, I feel like I have a similar thing that's just this, like, the will to just fucking penetrate the mysteries of life or something.
Right.
If that makes sense. It's like this, not sound like pretentious about it or something, but it's just this like, oh man, we did this activity in class where when we're talking about this stuff, existential therapy, or the teacher writes on the board, why don't you kill yourself?
Ooh.
Right. And I was just like, holy shit. You know? That was triggered. And it's not, you know, just like, you should just kill yourself, bro. It wasn't that. It was, why don't you?
Right.
Why don't you? Because we all could.
Right.
We're all free to. So every day that we wake up and show up in our lives is a decision.
Sure.
Why don't you? There's obviously some kind of reason. And if you say that to a deeply depressed person, I mean, it takes a lot of wisdom to ask it in the right way. But if someone really is deeply depressed, but they keep showing up, and then you say, what's keeping you? What's the thread that's holding you?
Right.
You know, let's identify that. And then maybe that thread can become a rope. And then maybe that rope can become a bridge, and you keep building on it. But yeah, why don't you? And as I was reflecting on that, you know, in my own life, why don't I? What am I doing here? And there's this deep curiosity that just keeps pushing me to look around the next bend.
Right.
You know, and even years ago when I was feeling very, very depressed and even having suicidal thoughts, I remember thinking like, well, if I did that, I didn't get the lesson.
Right.
I didn't get through to the other side. Is there another side?
Right.
To this? Because this can't be it. There's no fucking way God or life force or just meaningless universe even just fucking put me here so that I could feel like shit and then kill myself.
Right.
There's no possible way that is why I'm here.
Right.
It's like, there's no way that was the plan. So I remember just feeling so fucking determined to find out what's on the other side of that will to death.
Right.
You know, so it's this deep sense of curiosity.
Right.
What's on the other side of the hill? And I found a lot of answers.
Right.
And don't feel that way anymore at all. I just don't.
Right.
So, yeah, I found something like those questions did, in fact, guide me toward greener grass.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's almost like your drive for knowledge, you know, being an academic, all that shit.
Yeah.
Has also informed your will to live, which is finding out, discovering, researching, learning what's next, what's going to happen tomorrow, next year, the year after that, you know, being able to like sort of be a life academic in a way, human academic,
exactly. What is
you know,
this? What is this?
human existence.
Yeah.
How do I understand this better? You know, what's next? What will evolve?
Yeah. What is happening here? It's this insane game.
The Astro Traveler.
Yeah. It's the most compelling game there is.
Right.
Life. It's such a fucking weird, icky, bizarre, fun, exciting thing.
Right.
So you can be curious about it forever.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, it's interesting how The Last Samurai, he's like, no will to live, just like that's his will is no will. Fuck it, do what you want with me, blah, 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 blah. But then he's surrounded by something positive. He learns a different way of life.
Right.
Gets a will to live via this community, the village, you know. Finds a cool hot wife. Sure, he killed her husband, but you know, whatever. They're getting through it.
Right.
But in a movie like, and this goes for people too, in a movie like Ed Norton in Fight Club, he had no will to live. He couldn't sleep anymore, hated his job, you know, hated everybody
the whole
there.
Gen X thing,
Yeah. But then he finds the sort of Gen X meaning in this Fight Club, where you're actually like hurting yourself, blah, 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 hurting others. But what's happening is he's building a toxic sort of village.
Yeah.
A community village.
Yeah. Like Ed Gein finding fucked up meaning, but it's still meaning.
Totally. Yeah. And
Tyler Durden.
And then what happens is you get pleasure in it.
Yeah.
As well. He finds pleasure not only in his girlfriend, but in beating the shit out of people and getting the shit beat out of him too. Right. So it then becomes a pleasure response, you know.
It's interesting, yeah.
Which I think can happen to a lot of us, especially like down and out, depressed, losing the will to live or whatever. And you're just like, fuck it, I'm just going to start smoking and live, whatever.
Yeah.
Then you meet people that are like that too. And then all of a sudden, you know, freaking Train Spotting, or all of a sudden Fight Club, or, you know, do drugs, or you start freaking Breaking Bad selling meth or something like that.
Right.
And it just spirals in.
Man, so wild.
Right.
I want to conquer life too. There's like a meaning there that's like, it's like, as you're describing this, I feel this like primal fighting urge, you know. It's not just like
the universe is like a monster. It
exactly.
You, but it doesn't.
It's not just will to meaning like it can be the very light and the very sweet things, and that's absolutely part of it. My daughter, my family, all that kind of stuff. And then there's also just like we were saying, it's just like those fucking bastards. I'll fucking show them, you know.
Right.
Like that kind of thing, where it's like I want to build my fucking castle.
Yes.
And just this like heroic fucking thing, and then all the monsters in my life just like come at me, you know?
Right.
Like, fucking
Yes.
You know, and there's some kind of like warrior like power in that feels like a will to meaning.
Right.
the warrior's meaning. And what's the warrior's meaning? I mean, to fight, to create, to kill. It's like, it's just this fucking viciousness to defend, to protect, you know?
Right. I heard a really good quote, Sam Elliott show I've been watching. And this girl's like, you know, I'm just waiting out there trying to see what the world has planned for me.
Yeah.
And he's like, the world doesn't have shit planned for you. He's like, you got to make the plan. And then you fight and struggle with the world to make that plan come true, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And that's the strengthening.
It's not really just like, we'll see what the universe does to me. No, then you end up in Fight Club, you know? Fuck that.
Yeah. You end up in
weird spaces. It's up to you to make a plan.
Yeah.
It's up to us to wrestle with the world to make that plan come true to our best of our abilities.
Right.
And sure, be open to, like, you know, diversions or whatever in the path, you know, but ultimately try to keep the goal, wrestle with it. And like you're saying, sort of the primal warrior thing. Fuck the world's plan or the earth's plan, the universe's plan. There is no plan, you know. If you just leave it to chance, you could end up pretty bad, you know.
Yeah, totally. It's like you make a decision or the world makes a decision for you.
Exactly.
And very often the one that the world makes for you is like working at Walmart when you're 75 years old.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
You know, like,
right.
So...
Not that there's anything wrong with that, but
no, it's fine. Yeah, there's an honor in it too. People, you know, working to get by and doing what they need to do. But do you want that?
Right.
No.
Right. No, totally not. Yeah. So it's about, you know, finding meaning on your own, which, back to Frankl over here, that's the goal.
Yeah.
Is to sort of find a meaning so you can plan and wrestle with life to make something better, something that you actually truly desire within yourself.
Yeah. God, that's so interesting. There is, like, I'm picturing, oh man, like one version's like the Zen stories of these guys I've mentioned before. They're dying and they're just fucking cackling. Just crazy, you know, just because they're just like so open to the intensity of life and the experience of it. And it's just like conquering the monster, you know, laughing in the monster's face, these medieval monks, crazy, you know?
Right.
That, or just like, I'm thinking just being in like a completely degraded state, or like Frankl in the, you know, concentration camp, or that guy, Jack Luceron, if they can laugh too. I mean, that's fucking wild to be in the most degraded state and then look a Nazi soldier in the eye and just start cackling. Crazy. Like this, like power.
Yeah.
Like this total intensity and internal power of it. It's like, or King Lear or something out on the heath in the emptiness and the void, fucking crazy, naked in the void, and just like, Captain Ahab on the during the storm. He, like, you know, he's there with this fucked up leg and he's like standing at the head of the ship just like yes crazy.
So insane. Yeah, because you're conquering, you know, and making so a fate that, you know, others either can attain or you didn't think you could attain. You know, there's a great freaking resoundance in it. I mean, I'm even thinking like city slickers when they find the gold, you know, all of them start dancing. We found the money. The money's mine. Freaking laughing and dancing and stuff like that, because the goddamn universe, it basically sets everyone up to be poor.
Yeah.
And so like that's like a very like objective example, and then you find millions of dollars worth of gold. You fucked life right in the just like, oh, we got the money, freaking dancing. That's why everybody kind of chases that high at the casino, you know? Which is exploitative, of course, but for those that do sort of break through that, you know, you don't have enough money to do shit. It's got to feel incredible.
Sure. Just laugh, you know?
I want to dance just thinking about it.
I kept thinking, see, we're really getting into the existentialist thing here. It's been a while since I visited the space, but Beckett, too, Theater of the Absurd, where it's a similar thing, just total debauchery, just total fucking insanity, and that guy revels in it.
Right.
You know,
right,
like
right.
he has these characters who are just the worst, most degraded beings. But same thing, they're just like homeless in the mud, and they're just dancing and cackling. And then Beckett himself, I started reading, he has a trilogy of novels. I think I read 50 pages and couldn't do it anymore because there's no paragraph breaks. It's just a fucking scroll for, 500 pages or some shit of being in the mind of a crazy person. It's the most disturbing, anxiety inducing thing I've ever read, where it's just this stream of consciousness of someone who's actually very, very, very neurotic and probably pretty disturbed.
Right.
And so I hated it. I couldn't do it. I put it down. But at the same time, there is this dancing in the storm quality to it.
Right.
Beckett, who definitely was probably at least a bit insane and just dancing in it.
Right. Breaking convention.
Yeah. And that's the myth of Sisyphus. That's Sisyphus pushing the boulder up the hill over and over and over and over again until finally he just laughs. This terrible, beautiful, horrifying, cosmic laugh. And the whole underworld shakes with that laugh because there's nothing left that they can do to him.
Right.
It's incredible.
Powerful.
Yeah.
And also, it's a way for us to ultimately, whether it's Sisyphus or whether we're in a concentration camp, whether you're Ed Norton or Ed Gein, whatever, these are ways in which we live through what is also like, there's so much beauty and greatness in the world, obviously, but we're also in a sort of sense of hell as well. Like it's difficult to have a perfect family, to have a perfect job, to have, perfect health, whatever the case.
It's impossible, not just difficult, it's impossible.
I mean, at times you just got to laugh about it. Like, I don't know, like how many times in academia I have been like blatantly fucked on like pay or a raise or like, I don't know how many times with relationships things should have worked out, but just boom, they went to X's, whatever the case may be, just, one frag after another, eventually you got to just laugh about it. It's like, my God, I've been here for like, for 4 decades. What am I going to do? Go cry about it. It's just like, let's fucking have a good laugh, get a different perspective on it. And just, it's also a relinquishing of control. You don't have to control either every situation. You can let go of it and just let things flow as they are and exist within this realm that you are only a player upon. You're not, a player or an actor. I'm now thinking back to freaking Hamlet, but
Hamlet's pretty existentialist.
Was it Hamlet or Macbeth?
For which?
The player or an actor strutting along the stage.
Yeah,
Hamlet. Yeah.
Wow. Even Hamlet's the whole to be or not to
it's
be.
It's the sound and the fury.
Yeah. The whole Hamlet, to be or not to be speech. That's also why don't I kill myself?
Right.
That's literally what that speech is.
Literally.
To be or not to be. It's another way of putting that is, Hamlet, why don't I kill myself?
Right.
Huh. And he dies not that much longer later, so he didn't have a great answer. But sure. But his was revenge, right? Wasn't it?
His was.
Why don't I kill myself? It's because I still need to avenge my father.
Right.
And scream in Ophelia's face.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, most of the like, whether it's Dracula or the Mummy, whatever, undead, there's this crazy will to come back, to survive, to live, to get revenge, or to, whatever the case may be.
I never fully understood existentialist philosophy and literature until today.
Right.
Yeah, it's like clicking.
Nice.
Maybe it's just because I'm a bit older. When you're 19,
sure.
It sounds kind of like dark and edgy, it's like existentialism. I'm reading Camus. And
right.
Fuck, why don't you kill yourself?
Like my own fucking reality, bro.
Yeah.
When I die, you all die, man.
Yeah, it's like the whole like you're wearing black all the time and reading poetry or something, right? But now at 34, which in a few years I'm going to look back on 34 and be like, I didn't know anything.
Right.
But compared to 19, I'm 34 and it's like, oh, that's existentialism. That's the just what you were describing, you know, it's like the job shit doesn't work out or the relationship doesn't work out or finally seems to, and then the rug gets pulled out from under you and you happens enough times that you're again pushing the rock up the hill over and over and over again. Then it finally breaks and you laugh and it's like, you don't get that when you're 19.
No,
you know, you can't.
No, because everything's set out before you. You know, you're a clean slate. Just I could major in anything. I can become a football player if I start right now. You know, start playing baseball or something. You know, it's hard to get later on. You need the experiences, the existential crises to live through about 5,050 of them before you're like, oh, okay, that sort of makes sense. You know.
I dig the path I'm on, though. It's a cool path.
It's a good path.
Yeah, it's a good path. It's interesting. I find a lot of interest in it.
Right.
Doing the therapy stuff, the meditation stuff. It's just like it really feeds me. It's like, oh, cool. You know, and it's that excitement. You know, I appreciate it when you said that when I was in Albuquerque compared to now, it's just like different human being, just like a light in my face that just wasn't there as heaviness. It's like, oh, cool. Okay. Great, you know, and I love that like feeds me more than anything.
Your brother Day now.
Brother Day, baby.
Brother Don's gone.
Brother Don, he's gone.
Totally. And then if you think about it, you're like, you planned this existence in a way. You grappled with life to make it happen. Maybe not specifically, I'm going to go to this college in Santa Fe, New Mexico, blah, 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 go to this Zen temple in Taos. No, that wasn't the case.
No.
But having the peace of mind to be doing something that you're deeply interested in. Yeah. To create a village in a town that you truly enjoy, you know, that fits your needs. Right. Having some cool relationships with also, you know, some girls that you've met, whatever the case, you had a little relationship there for a while. You know, this is what you were actually striving for 10 years ago when we first met, or 8 years ago, you know what I mean? Because you moved down from Long Island. You still have that sort of like East Coast freaking, you know, little bit of like, hey, rough and tough guy, freaking, I got my girlfriend here. What? You moved down with like traditional girlfriend, boom.
Like when I first moved.
When you first moved. And then
PodQuest, bro. Yeah.
PodQuest. And then you break up and like, you know, meet some friends, whatever. And then you become like a high school teacher that wasn't working out. Then depression was going on. But then you're just like, you know what? I'm going to wrestle with life, make it work, make it happen. You know, Sam Elliott freaking. And you wrestled, you quit your job.
Yeah, wrestled, man.
Fucking crazy.
I could still be there and be like, oh, man.
I'll get to retire in 10 years.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Oh, if I just stay here a bit longer, you know, I just got raised, you know.
You goddamn wrestled it, you know.
Took the hard path, but the real path.
Quit, went to Mitra's, freaking moved down. Yeah. You know, we started up the pod, freaking... Pretty incredible.
And slayed some monsters, man. Like that's what the monsters I was talking about, building my castle, slaying the monsters. It's the depression, it's the anxiety. It's like slayed those fucking monsters. Right. You know? Now
you're in a program doing something you love. Yeah. Gonna have a cool job later on that pays well. You can make your little bird's nest. What was our bird we were talking about?
Osprey nest.
The osprey
nest. I was talking about the osprey last night.
Nice.
That's funny. Yeah.
Love the osprey.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, good things. You wrestled with it and you came to think, and then not everything solved, of course, but you've brought to life in existence.
Brought to life. Yeah, I like that phrase.
That wasn't currently active before.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was through like neuroticism, walking downtown Albuquerque by yourself. Freaking,
I was wandering around. Fucking what am I doing here,
fucking, yeah. I can't hang out, whatever, you know, and then boom, you're like, no, you know what? Yeah. Let's freaking start the ship up, activate some new corridors here.
See, and this is the monster. This is like the Minotaur in the labyrinth. You go into the labyrinth. In the labyrinth, it's the maze. It's the self. It's the mind.
Sure.
And you go in and you find that bastard and cut his head off.
Right.
And drag it back out, and all the village people celebrate. Yeah.
Right.
You know?
Killing Grendel.
It's the inner story. It's the archetypes. You know, you cut off the personal Minotaur's head for your inner self, for all the parts of yourself, and then the internal village celebrates. And then the external village celebrates.
I wonder how Beowulf fits into this, because he goes to slay Grendel for the village,
right?
But he doesn't slay him.
Yeah, how's that one turn out again?
He's actually enticed by Grendel's mom, the witch. And she gives him one of Grendel's hands or whatever like mom, that. Yeah. And he goes back and, I slayed the monster, you know?
Yeah.
And then he becomes king of the village. He has kids, all that shit.
Yeah.
But then when he gets older, it's all taken from him.
Because he didn't actually slay.
He didn't actually slay the demon. He had to go back to Angelina Jolie, you know?
Oh, I hated that movie version.
The movie version is terrible.
It's terrible. The book's pretty cool.
I don't know though. My famous Viking mythology teacher, and he was famous. Like he was there as a resident, and he lived in Norway.
Cool.
He fucking loved that movie.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right.
He'd always bring it up and talk about it and just be like, oh yeah, you know, and Angelina Jolie wasn't too bad looking at either. But no, really, let's get back to this scene. Scene 5, freaking Sean Bean freaking.
Sounds hilarious.
Yeah. It was an awesome class.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, just that the whole story of, I think even the written, you know, and a lot of liberties had to be taken. It's not complete, but that sort of false change, you know, or like the illusion of change or the lie of change, how that can come back to haunt you in a way, you know. What is that? Thoughts on Beowulf?
Yeah, no, that's great. Yeah. I actually want to hear your thoughts first.
God, I don't know. I'm trying to like put it together.
Yeah, because there's something there. There's something to explore.
There's something there. And it kind of goes to the Hamlet where you're just acting, you know, you're not a true player in this sound and the fury. But that doesn't connect necessarily either. Like, is there a real world example we could sort of think of?
I had this fucked up dream a couple nights ago. It wasn't that fucked up, but I've really been reflecting on it, and the message was one that I think aligns here. Okay. Maybe. It might be a stretch. I don't know. Let me know if I'm stretching it.
Okay.
So in this dream, this speaks so much. It's very vulnerable. It speaks to my own sense of confidence or self-esteem that's kind of shaky sometimes, right? So in this dream, there's this guy who is I'll say he's a friend of a friend. And the guy is very outgoing, very extroverted, very fills up the room kind of thing, musician, that kind of thing, right? So in this dream, he's like performing and just doing his thing. And then there's these couple of women who are like very enchanted by him, right? And me, freaking 19-year-old existentialist, you know, himself is sitting there wearing black in the corner. It's like, why is nobody paying attention to me? Right. So this is the dream. And I'm like, oh, what the hell? And I wake up and I'm like really upset about it. I'm like, that sucked. What the hell? Right. You know? And it was a dream about some anxiety, about self-esteem, about that I need to feel like that I feel like I'm supposed to be different if I'm going to succeed romantically, succeed in the world, that kind of thing.
Authenticity.
Yes, that's the theme. So then I'm going for a walk and reflecting on this dream, and I was like, because there's really like, what the hell? What is this? You know? And then visualize and go back into the dream, and then realize, and I'm sitting there kind of looking at it and feeling uncomfortable. And when we visualize dreams, you could press the pause button, fast forward, rewind, slow down, and then really get into the symbolism and the meaning, and then at some point it opens up. So then I realized at some point, I go, wait, why don't I just ask them? Why don't I just go up to these people and be like, what is this? What's going on?
Right.
You know, so I go up to these women in the dream and I was like, what's so appealing about him? And they go, oh, he's really exciting. I'm like, what? I'm not exciting, you know?
Right.
And then I actually ask, I go, what would I need to do to I guess, you know, find my own way of, and it's not just about romance. It's about, you know, just feeling comfortable in my own skin, you know? And then in this visualization, one of them just responds. They go, well, if just be real, authentic. You know, it's like that dude's doing his thing. That's fine. But why are you trying to do someone else's thing?
Right.
Don't do that.
Ooh.
Do your thing.
Yeah.
You know, whatever that thing is.
Totally.
But sometimes it feels like, because I'm introverted, I'm, you know.
Oh my God. I think you just answered one question too, which we've always asked, which is like, why is happiness sort of unattractive as well?
Oh, interesting.
But maybe not so much that, but why is grief attractive? And perhaps grief is attractive because it's not about them grieving fucking whatever or wearing black or whatever. Yeah. It has nothing to do with that.
You mean like the sad girl aesthetic or something? That's like,
or like Hamlet.
Or Hamlet.
Whatever,
yeah, the dark, broody, yeah.
It's actually that they're living in authenticity because they don't have like this will to be better in their job, to be a good knight, to please their father. You know? There's like this weird authenticity about them that makes it so attractive. Whereas a lot of people that are living the good life and are like peaceful and like have money and all this stuff like that, well, they're actually acting a lot during the day.
So interesting.
They wear certain clothes that make them seem like they make this amount of money.
Right.
Or
there's a lot of performativity.
They wear sweaters or whatever. There's a lot of performativity to it.
Yeah, totally.
And then, you know, what starts happening is, and even like if you have a big family or whatever, you're trying to keep everyone happy. So you're not necessarily yourself. So I got to be happy dad now. And I got to be this, you know, the good husband and blah, blah. Yeah. There's so much unauthenticity to it.
Yeah.
That it's unattractive.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Right. So in the context of this dream, well, yeah, it's authenticity. It's authenticity. Right. And it's authenticity, and I'll just contrast that with the word facade.
Right.
Because so it's about finding that authenticity. And for us more introverted guys, you know, it's like that can be kind of hard sometimes because in a big way, our society does privilege the extrovert and the, you know, all that.
Sure.
So where is our power? Where is that authentic power? And there is a firmness and a steadiness in the kind of introverted personality that I think there's potentially a gravity to it if we own it rather than trying to be something else. But lately it feels like I've been trying to be someone I'm not, you know, and that hasn't felt good. So I had this dream that was telling me, like Frankl says, any anxiety or neuroticism is a message. So I'm like, oh, it's the message. Be authentic. Stop trying to be someone else. Stop trying to be this dude. So to tie that back to Grendel and Beowulf. So you have this guy who goes out and doesn't slay the monster.
Right.
And then returns as if he did, right? So and then what'd you say? She gave him like a
I think
severed
she gave
hand
him
or
like
something
some sort
in order
of to prove.
Yeah, to prove. So he made a deal with the devil in that sense, and then comes back not with authenticity, but with facade. And facade can get someone pretty far.
Right.
But it's a house of cards, and it does crumble at some point.
Right.
So I think
and what's interesting about the film, I don't know if this is correct in the story, I'd have to look back, but she's okay with the loss of Grendel ultimately because she has sex with him and gets impregnated by his child.
I think that might have just been the movie.
Sure, but there's this whole like sort of symbolic representation of like, you're not just dedicating yourself to a facade or a lie.
Yeah.
And inauthenticity. You're literally breeding with it. You're literally
right.
Like you not only that, but you have a spawn of this sort of, you know, purity or whatever it is against humanity. And it births the dragon at the end that he ends up having to kill, you know, and ends up killing him as well.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, we get married to inauthenticity, even like Mean Girls, you know, take away from Beowulf or whatever. Yeah. You get married to, you even sleep with, have sex, breed with this inauthenticity. Yeah. And then you're the king of the village, all this stuff. Well, that's actually leads to your ultimate downfall, the ultimate sadness, the ultimate loss of your family, the loss of friends, the loss of everything it supposedly gave you. You know?
Exactly.
It's like, you know, it's a simulation.
It's a simulation.
Yeah.
And I think to build on the will toward meaning, I think there's a will toward truth as well. And I think that's something embedded maybe within each one of us, but then embedded just in nature and the universe,
right,
so to speak. So I guess, for example, if a bird builds a nest and that nest is faulty and missing a section or something, or just not on a strong tree branch,
right,
the first storm, that nest is out, right, and that's sort of the truth, like the just reality of life is showing the lack of integrity within that nest, and it breaks, right. So I think that's true of our lives, that we can live in facade, we can build these nests, so to speak, that might look really grand. You build a house on a cliff by the seaside, but the cliff is experiencing erosion. Right. And then it's like, it looks really incredible for a few years until the right storm comes and the house is falling into the water. Sure. So I think it's a similar thing. You live in facade, but there is this movement toward truth and exposure. Right. Of what's actually going on. And it seems natural. Sure. Yeah.
And like, you know, Beowulf's will to live then after that was to maintain his facade. Yeah. And then once that was broken down, then he was done too. Then he followed into the grave, you know. Yeah. And then it's a life lost. Yeah. Because all you're living for is to be an actor, you know, in a world that isn't of your own creation. Yeah. You know, so back to the existential, you need to be the actor, director, producer, all that shit to the best of your ability. Yeah. And then when these outside sort of influences or events happen, you're able to maintain the story of your life the way you want it to go, you know.
And there's a sense of alignment that comes through. Like, I went up to Mitras for a couple of days, just a few days ago, in meditation, and got to a place sitting meditation where it just went into this kind of pre-verbal space, this pre-linguistic space, right? It's hard to describe, but in other words, just you sit there long enough and then you just get so in your body that you're with it. You're with it. You're in your body rather than caught in your head. You know, think of like the complete opposite of anxiety or something. Anxiety, you're totally caught in your head and thinking, what if this happens and that happens? Oh God, I need to do it this way and that way. And it's just like totally in my body. Thoughts are still there and happening, but it's just like, can almost feel like the moments before a thought bubbles up and it's just kind of quiet, and then the thought goes up and then it goes away. And it felt like this truth or integrity kind of, or authenticity that maybe we're describing, because it was just like, and it wasn't anything special. It's not like I was sitting there like wow, you know, it's just like just anti-anxiety, just like totally present. And it was, I don't know. There's just this like sense there that the body is expressing what it needs to express. Right. My beingness is expressing what it needs to express. I'm not overthinking. I'm not like, oh, well, I need to wear these clothes in order to look such and such a way, you know, or something like that in order to impress someone. So, you know, it's just completely with myself as I was, you know, and I guess in that space is just self-acceptance. I think it's just what I'm describing. It's just like, oh, cool. Like I'm good where I'm at. I don't need to, I don't need a facade.
Authentic existence.
Yeah, which turns out to be really attractive.
Sure.
So then that's kind of the irony too. I think we let go of the facade.
Right.
It's like the reverse of like, there's that Bible line about you gain the world, but lose your soul.
Right.
What about when you let go of the world and gain your soul? You know? And then it's just like, but it turns out that when you gain the soul, I guess one of two things happen. Either it works out in such a way that people want to be around you now because you just have this ease about you, or you get the job you want because you're just like, it's in alignment. You're just chilling, you know, you talk to the employer and they're like, man, this guy's really smooth, you know, because you're just easy with yourself. So then you actually end up getting what the facade wanted anyway.
Sure.
But you do it from a natural way. Right?
Yeah.
Because let's say Beowulf went and authentically defeated the monster and then came back. You would have gotten all that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. You didn't need to go and have creepy sex with snake Angelina Jolie or whatever. Snake monster Angelina. You know? It's like you could just kill her.
Jezebel.
Like, Jezebel.
That was the original. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, and still gotten everything, you know. Or what happens is we align with the soul, and then these are what monks do. They align with the soul, and then no longer care for any of the facade at all, and just like don't care, and they're just totally solid, just being like, no, I'm good. I don't need the money, the job, the relationship. Like I'm actually so at peace with myself. I'm down to just sit in the woods by this tree.
That's why I'm starting to hate.
Happy.
I'm starting to hate fake it till you make it. Don't fake it.
Right.
Be authentic and you'll make it. And you'll make it.
Yeah.
Not fake it till.
Yeah.
Be authentic and you will.
Don't fake it, bro. J says don't fake it.
J is changing that saying. It's be authentic and you'll make it. You know?
Be authentic, yeah.
Or don't fake it and you'll make it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Be real. Be real. Like, you know, even in Beowulf, like bragging about slaying monsters in the sea and all this shit. A lot of people are like, this fucking guy.
Yeah.
Rolling their eyes or whatever.
Yeah.
Hey, Beowulf, cut it out. You're obviously like super handsome Sean Bean, strong dude, like handy with the sword, whatever, you know. If you just met a cool wife in a village and like, you know, he would have been a great asset to the village, chopping wood, building houses, you know, good if they needed to go like, you know, fight a little tribal war or whatever, you know, we got Beowulf. That's awesome, you know. Yeah. The guy fucked up, you know, and maybe his son of a good upbringing like that could have slayed the ultimate monster or whatever case, you know.
Yeah, and sometimes we can't slay all the monsters, and that's okay too.
Let Grendel live, you know.
Let Grendel live. He's been there for dozens of years at this point, and the village is okay, and people get a little scared because he screams at night, but it's okay.
Leave him alone. You don't want to invite him biting everybody's heads off. Yeah, that's terrible. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. J to J. Don't fake it and you'll make it, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that the concluding?
I mean, I don't know if we put this on the record, but it's just funny, like, you know, Zays or whatever of the world that are like lying about having sex, or my friend Paul Porter lying about that, or just people that are living the Beowulf facade. It's always comes back to get you, you know. Always. It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
Well, another thought. Do you want to keep chat? Are you at the end? What are you thinking?
If you got another thought.
Yeah, another thought. Well, hey, they say like I was just running my hand through my hair and was like, oh fuck, I'm thinning hairline. You know? Just like,
oh man, my minoxidil.
Yeah, dude. Freaking. But one thing they say is if someone's balding, just bald, you know, but if you own it, like I know a guy who's beautiful man and he's totally bald.
Hey, bald's in. Chicks love bald guys.
Yeah, dude, beautiful man. And just like confident, great shape. And it's like wherever he goes, he's just like, you know, likes talking to people. And it's just like people love this guy.
Love girls that do like the short pixie cuts and stuff like that. Buzzed heads. I love it.
Sure.
So hot. See the neckline, you know.
So it's just, you know, but that's the thing. Drop the facade, authenticity. You know, it's all confidence. But that's what I like about therapy. I haven't been a therapist yet, but in my classes and as, you know, having a therapist client and in the Zen stuff, there's this level of authenticity that I really enjoy. Yeah. Where you could let it down. You can let down the facade in the play, you know. Ideally someone walks into the therapist's office and is like, what's going on? And they tell you like really what's going on. Not things are good, dude, you know. But like, no, like, what's up? What's plaguing your mind? I can see it. And then you get into it. And I love that. Because it's just like cuts right to the core. There's something about that. Right. You know, or in on my classes, we did this eye gazing thing, just sat there and stared into each other's eyes for 15 minutes. Yeah. I think I told you about that. It's hilarious. But dude, even I told Shannon about it at the Zen Center, and she's been meditating for fucking 1,000 years. And she was just like, that's weird, man. That's weird, man. I don't know. She's like, I don't think I'd want to do that. Yeah. But it's cool, and I enjoyed it because it's just this like, feels like playing music in the same key or something. It just like you get to this just like, it's intimacy, and you get to this spot where it's just like, man, dude, next lover I just want to I don't even want to have sex, dude. I just want to like sit there and just eye gaze for like 3 hours and just be like, I see it.
Right.
Cool.
She might break up with you after that.
She was like, dude, can we like have actual sex? I'm like, no.
Look at me.
No, look into my eyes.
Stop blinking. No, that's what's cool about the Frankl thing too, because when you're put down to the base needs, truth pops out. The truth of your humanity, the truth of what you love, of what you're actually living for, comes out, and that's worth studying, because if you know that, you can identify it, then you can use that as a tool to better your life, to survive. Thrive.
Wait, say that one more time. I got lost.
Once you're stripped down to a base situation, sort of like in a concentration camp or whatever, you know, you're at this lowest point. Well, then identifying what's keeping you alive, your will to live, that is a crucial tool. And being able to identify what makes you human, your humanity, and what will bring you joy, what is going to be the thing. And then you can use it as a tool to survive, to thrive, to, you know, self-identify, to make decisions, all that stuff, because you finally identified what truly matters to you.
Yeah, exactly.
And authenticity. Exactly. Yeah. It's not necessarily money. It's not necessarily becoming a CEO.
Bare bones of life.
You get to the bones and you realize, oh my God. Yeah. Like, and then it's not too late if you can identify it early. Yeah. Oftentimes it comes about on our deathbeds. Right. I should have spent more time with Helga, you know, Nancy and blah, 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 my son, whatever. You know, but then you're on your deathbed. You got like 2 days left, you know. Yeah. It's using this method, the Frankl method, to be able to identify that early on. To find the will that really drives you. Yeah. And then you can use it as a tool for the rest of your life.
I like that. Yeah, there's this getting to the truth of things quality, right? I'm thinking of Thoreau. Yeah, he's got the most famous quote from Walden, because I went out into the woods. Forget what exactly he says. I went out into the woods to find out what life was really about, to suck the marrow from the bone of life and really see what it is, you know, and that's Captain Ahab. That's Thoreau. That's all the modernist guys were obsessed with that. Ezra Pound, Joyce, like
even
what
like
is
Beowulf,
it?
you know, just like if he would have met with Frankl.
Yeah.
And been like, hey, I'm a
Hero,
I'm the superhero, whatever.
Right.
I slayed Grendel. Just like, did you? Like, what?
Did you
what are you exactly like?
What are you hiding
why
from?
did you do that?
Yeah.
And why did you, eventually through therapy lie about it? And what were you trying to find?
Yeah.
Well, Beowulf's dad was a jerk, he had some daddy issues, he needed to empower himself, whatever the case. And he realized the one thing he really only cared about was the queen that he met. And what it really boiled down to was he had no healthy relationships,
Yeah.
And then he could drop the facade, let someone else be the king, whatever, live a happy life,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. You get down to the thing itself. That's a line that maybe it was Pound. I forgot who at this point, but whoever I was reading at the time, a modernist poet, was really into this, the thing itself.
Right,
what is that?
Right.
The thing itself. And then I think it was King Lear, actually. Yeah, it was King Lear because he's out on the heath. Love that scene. That's my favorite scene, anything ever. And he says something about man naked and alive, the thing itself. And it's, again, just that exposure to the universe. It's like, what, and there's some kind of, something clicks. There's some kind of deep, deep, deep wisdom there.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. The thing itself.
The thing itself. Yeah.
Right. Finding that. And maybe what it is what is your will to live? What is driving you?
Yeah, and you go deeper and deeper, though, because there's layers.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, too, because someone finds out, I don't know, for example, oh, my marriage is a farce, it just wasn't no shit. There's a lot of facade here.
Sure.
Which is a challenge for people.
Right.
And then, because there's so much wrapped up in it. We have a house together. Maybe we have a kid together. My identity is totally wrapped up in this. We have mutual friends, blah, blah, blah. So you're not just dropping the marriage. You're also dropping an entire lifestyle.
Sure.
So then it's...
Well, and then oftentimes we can lead ourselves to the end of what we really want,
Yeah.
through inauthenticity.
Yeah.
So say your will to live is like keeping your family structure together with your wife or whatever, or your husband. Well, then you start saying to yourself, well, in order to do that, I need to act like I'm cool and like don't care. Or I need to find a make her jealous, or I need to make more money, or I need to do this, I need to do that. When all you really needed to do is identify with the person that you are my will to live, most important person. And that would have taken care of everything. Yeah. But instead you go on this Beowulf mission and ruin it. Absolutely ruin it. And next thing you know, you're spiraling. It's 13 years later, and you're still... And what you're fighting for, all of a sudden, sort of this dark forest, it's gone. It's missing. You'll never find it again.
Yeah.
And then, boom, you're so lost. You got to find a new will to live, ultimately.
Yeah. Man, it's so interesting. Dude, speaking of King Lear, I got, after class last week, grabbed coffee with a friend, right? And we're talking about how it's easier to feel sadness. Oh, fuck. No, never mind. It's easier to use addictions or whatever, just use coping mechanisms rather than to just feel sad, and especially with men that, because this guy's really into men's mental health and the ways in which it's actually more societally acceptable for a man to become an alcoholic than it is to just admit that he's sad and to cry.
Right.
That's my friend's kind of perception of things. I was like, wow, yeah, I could.
Sure.
That's pretty intense, actually. I could see that. It's more acceptable for a man to do a bunch of fucked up stuff.
Right.
But then to just feel sad and vulnerable and have to cry a bit and grieve is like so emasculating that men feel like they can't do that. So then they get addicted and a bunch of other stuff. So we're talking about the ways in which we cover up sadness with all of these ridiculous ass pursuits. And then, he just got this book called Scattered Minds by Gabor Mate about ADHD or something. Opens up to the first page and do some work. And then the epigraph is literally from fucking King Lear. And it's exactly about how men will run away, will use anything that they can to run away from their sadness.
Crazy.
And I was like, what the hell, dude? It's so weird. Yeah, so weird. Yeah. He shows me the quote. I was like, holy shit, that's just manifested that. But yeah, to tie that back to the thing itself thing, it's like just to be where we actually are.
Right.
You know, if that is whatever it is, whatever is genuinely coming up.
Sure.
Rather than have to be like strong all the time or.
Right.
Use minoxidil in my hair.
Oh man, this is interesting. I wonder if there's certain times throughout your life where actually taking the Beowulf path is the correct path. Not necessarily the Beowulf, but say like a lie or something like that. Like, why do we lie in the first place? Where is the beginning of that? You know, I'm sure we could go deep into the woods with that.
Totally.
You know? But
what was the first lie ever told?
Right. And why was it told? You know, and a lot of times our subconscious will take us away from unhealthy paths. And one way it does it is by lying.
Yeah.
So perhaps Beowulf was like gonna go freaking overseas and do something like really, really terrible and end up, you know, murdering a lot of innocent people or some shit.
Yeah.
So he's like, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go join the King's Guard. I'm just going to lie about killing this beast.
Right.
And then become king of this really cool village. Everybody's going to love me, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
And it actually changed his life for the better in a way.
For a while. Totally. Which is great. You know?
And like, that's maybe cool. There's times where like, you know, I don't know, you're lied to your friends or some shit like that. And then, you know, they're pissed at you, whatever. And then you have to find new friends or whatever. But then actually the lie protected you from your previous friends who were about to start a fight club. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was the inauthenticity itself that drew you away from something that's toxic.
See, these are some deep waters.
Sets you into a more healthier road. Or does lying always come back to bite you in the ass no matter what it is? You know, George Washington.
Yeah. So one, I just want to mention because it's fascinating. Lies and lying cannot exist pre-language.
Ooh.
Right? Because imagine early humans. You can't lie if you can't speak to one another, right? How would you do that? You can't. You can hide something. I mean, let's say one early human ape hides an apple from the other one. Okay, you know, but it's not a lie.
Sure.
Right? It's deceptive maybe, but the action is still true. Like, I hid the apple.
Sure. My
actions are expressing that I'm hiding an apple. There's an honesty there, even if it's not totally moral. And then you act like,
let's go look for apples, and then all the monkeys go to sleep, and you're like, haha, I got
right? But it's still not lying, right? Because you can tell. Right. So lying was invented with language itself, right? So language was invented, and the lie was invented at the same exact time, and perhaps language was invented with the intention of lying. Who knows?
Ooh.
Right? But there's something there.
Is there nonverbal lying though? Sort of like acting.
Oh, like if like deceptive acting, like that's a good point. Let's say the first thing that came to mind was let's say a guy isn't that into a woman he's with, but then just wants to have sex, and instead of expressing that, lets her think that he loves her or something, and then has sex with her. Like, I guess words don't necessarily have to happen throughout that situation, but there's still a deceptive action taking place.
Right.
Yeah.
Even like early theater or whatever, even being an actual actor, you know.
Yeah.
There's a deception there, you know. It's Daniel Day-Lewis, but it's really not. It's Daniel Plainview. You know?
It's Daniel Big Lewis.
I abandoned my child.
It's my son, HW.
That's, I don't know. It's interesting to think, and then you get to the Beowulf thing that takes a verbal and sort of a non-verbal cue to convince the villagers of his lie. And then boom.
Yeah. But can it serve something? Yeah, sure. And I think it's a spectrum, because I've met at this point a solid handful of older people in their 60s and 70s who got onto a healing path or whatever you want to call it in their 60s or 70s.
Right.
Where they lived one way for their entire lives, and then had a career, made a bunch of money, had a wife or husband and children, and did the entire fucking thing from a space of facade.
Right.
I mean, but within reason, because you can still love your family, but also have not taken the path that was more authentic to you or something. So, it's more complex than one or the other, but went their whole lives. And then in their 60s and even 70s, for whatever reason, like I met a guy not too long ago, and who was at a workshop I did, who was in his 60s, and this is his story. He did this whole thing, made a bunch of money, wife and kids, etc. And then recently, a year ago or something, got a divorce because it was just like shit. And then he was expressing to me in this group we were with that it was never fully authentic. Even when they were 25 and got married, he had this moment where they were together in honeymoon stage and all exciting, and then they got married, and then she changed. Which I've heard is a thing that happens. Maybe people then suddenly feel like, oh, I'm secure now, so I can show my actual self, show my real face. And he goes, she changed and revealed herself to be a much more bitter or aggressive person than he had ever imagined, and he felt as a young 25-year-old man, really upset and kind of ripped off or something, and just like, what the hell? This is not what I signed up for. Right. But kids and family expectations and so on and so forth, and then ends up staying with her for 40 years. Yeah. Gets divorced a year ago, and all of a sudden is now going to the college here and there to do these ridiculous therapy workshops and going to fucking do ketamine injections or some shit, whatever he's doing, and is now dating some like old hippie lady who does like energetic body work or something, whatever. He's really trying to find himself, and he's a cool guy. He's a lot of fun to talk to. But so it's like, but he's got a couple of kids that he really loves. He made a ton of money, so now he can retire and do this stuff comfortably. Whereas when he was 25, if he was trying to do all this stuff, it would have been a much more difficult path. Financially and all of that. So sometimes
I like that example.
And maybe he wasn't ready, and that's the thing too. Like sometimes people just aren't ready to.
It works as sort of like a cocoon protector sometimes while you're growing in the cocoon. Yeah. Because you're not ready to be the butterfly.
Yeah, exactly. And that's okay. And people can stay there as long as they want. They spend lifetimes there. Again, people in their 70s I've met who, for the first time ever, looked in the mirror and said, who am I? What's my meaning? Holy shit, I never thought about that. Oh my God, I should have never got married when I was 25. And
I told you this example of a student who similar had a family, kids who he loves, would never change it, whatever. Yeah. But later got divorced, came to terms he's gay. And like the awesome ending to his, short story that he had submitted was, he's sitting at the top of a grass hill and he's thinking about all these events that went down. And then he closes his eyes, crosses his arms, and rolls down the hill.
Oh, love that.
And it's like this cool like moment of catharsis, of letting go, of being free, all this stuff. Yeah. But he fully accepted the fact that he lied about Grendel for so many years, and he still would never change those events. Because he had his child, he had his daughter. and he was still very good friends with his wife. It wasn't an ugly divorce or anything like that, you know. So he still loved his wife very much, genuinely. But, you know, it wasn't until later that he was able to start living this sort of authenticity that he couldn't show before.
Yeah. These are great stories. I met once years ago on a plane back from New York back to Santa Fe. I sat next to this older trans woman, right? And she's flying back to Santa Fe and lived here for years or whatever. And she was in her 60s and transitioned at, I think, the age of 60 or something like that.
Right.
And I was like, holy shit, like that's, wow. Like that's pretty wild, man. That's cool. And told me some of their life story. And they were like, yeah, I got into real estate and made a ton of money, got married with a woman, and had kids, and she was a he at the time, right? And it just never felt fully right, and always struggled with. I find this part, I mean, sad but beautiful, that this is distinct in a lot of trans stories where he was just depressed and anxious for his entire fucking life until he actually transitioned, which says, you know, the anxiety is a messenger. What's it trying to say? And in this person's specific example,
which makes taking pills, Western pharma, to get rid of your anxiety,
get rid of the message,
dangerous. Yeah, right. Because
the message,
you could then start living in an inauthentic existence that would otherwise bring you much pain, anxiety, depression. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But you just freaking, you know, sip it away over a couple pills of Valium or whatever.
Exactly. That's kind of the two approaches to therapy. One is the surface level, which is like, okay, you just want to get rid of your anxiety.
Right.
What can we do? Here's some pills, exercise some more. And then there's the deeper one, which is, who are you actually? And what is your anxiety telling you?
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, so this person's still friends with the ex-wife, had a couple of kids. It freaked them out when they transitioned, but eventually got over it and was happy to just see their parent happy. And and then even expressed to me that when they were a kid, it was the 60s and they got really into the hippie thing, and as a young man grew their hair out super long and remembered like loving having long hair and being a little more feminine, which was appropriate at the time in the hippie context. And and for them, that was just like a brief hint and a nudge that something was up, you know? I thought that was cool. But plenty of stories. Find authenticity. That's the goal.
100%.
On behalf of the Jareds, thank you for listening. Follow, comment, and tell your friends. The boys will be back next time, and always remember, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves. See you around the bend.